Good morning everyone, welcome back to my channel. So I'm participating in Susanna's project, which is a calendar, a prompt per month. And the first one is a beach scene, ocean scene. Now I said to Susanna that I probably wouldn't do a calendar as such, and as I hypothesized in the part 1 of this series, each design from each month will be used in some way other than a calendar. So there'll be a little Japanese rice bag with some of the animals on it. Susanna has now given me some more images of animals. So we'll go through that when we get to those months. I'm still thinking about which is the additional one I'll add because I was sort of short an animal. That's a whole nother story. So when I started this, I was filming up at Burrum. It was the morning before we were getting ready to leave, and I put everything in the car and I was sitting around waiting, and I dragged this out because I didn't get a chance to do it while I was there for the Christmas 2 weeks. And I thought, oh, I'll film it back in Brisbane. Gaz had a sleep in, I was ready to roll, and I thought, oh, I've got to do something. So I went and grabbed the pack that came with this, and in the first video I got my head around what was, oh, there's my bloomin' scissors. I've been looking for them for about a week and a half while back in Brisbane. I knew they'd left with me. There's some cotton. See, everything in here I sorted through in the first video. As I raced out the door, I also threw in some browns. But anyway, back to square one. You guys saw me unpack Susanna's pack that came with the calendar project. You also saw me unpack Sarah's Christmas blue pack from 1.5 years ago. I sorted it all, made the fabric flip so the fabrics were sort of easy to peruse, and I've since laid out in that video right at the very end the start of my ocean scene, which was that. Then I thought, I could hear Gaz, I better get ready. So I picked up everything, popped it into here, and came back to Brisbane. When I got back to Brisbane, driving back, I was thinking about it, and I was like, oh, I want it to be a bit bigger. So I redid it. This is the piece of fabric it was, and it was, you know, that big. Remember I did the frame? Well, I unpinned it all and repinned it. Then I started stitching, so at least you didn't see me sitting and stitching. And I pretty much followed the same system, except this piece I had torn in half. The other half I've put here. So now I've got my sky across the top. That's that fabric here that I tore off of a piece. Actually, I don't even know if I showed you that, because when I was packing up, I went looking for more things that would suit this project. Yeah, I don't think I did. Okay, that fabric in there was part of this. Because, yeah, that's right. Because this has been laid out in Brisbane. What you saw in part 1 was laid out at Burrum. I went to my cupboard as I was racing out the door and just started grabbing at fabrics that sort of made me feel like the ocean scene. And this piece was there. I don't know where I got it from. And I tore out the centre here, that bit that I've stitched down. So that's where that came from. I just felt like I wanted the blue to be deep and dark and moody and way back in the distance. So that's the little bit left from that. So I thought I'd show you that. I put it in because I thought, keep it with the project. You never know. We might use it, but who knows? So I think I brought you up to speed. Pretty much the piece changed from being long and thin, which is about the size Susanna's is, horizon, sand, and then she'd go on to the next month because hers is going to be the calendar. Mine, I just felt like I needed more room to play, so I'm making a bigger piece, of which I do not know what I'm going to do with it. It's just going to go into the cupboard, and maybe one day it becomes part of another project, because I sort of have this ocean thing floating around the back of my head, but not at the moment. So I'm pretty sure I showed you this on the day video one, I've got some shells, some beads, some trims, and some little stone chips. So they're all my embellishments. And I really want to get into that side of things. So I've got them to one side of me. As I raced around the house, they were in Sarah's pack. Very much bead soup and looking gorgeous, and some little lacy pieces and some bit of tatting. It's not tatting, it's a trim off of some lace. So that is definitely on the cards. Now, as I was leaving, as well as grabbing that fabric, and you know I said I wanted to do like some fence posts? I grabbed that as well. I thought, well, all my brown fabrics at Burrum, I better bring some back with me. It's like I've moved 3/4 of my room up there. Now I'm bringing it back in bits. Crazy. It'll be good when I get settled and then I've got everything where I want it to be. So I've got some fence post fabric. Now, I went to my cupboard too, and there was a potpourri there that had this in it, which is a seed pod from something. It sort of looks like those sponges. Like I can see seeds in there. Not sure of the plant, but I thought maybe that could be trimmed back and become tumbleweeds or some feature. This is probably getting a little out of control. Like it's a big 3-dimensional piece of coral rock. I've got some little shells. And then I also had some starfish. Now these were given to me years ago, so I'm not sure where they've come from or their history. I think I've got about 12, 13 of them. Two designs, and they've been dehydrated or dried. The poor little things. They're definitely real, I think. Maybe they're not. No, I think they are. There's no way they'd get that detail. So I've got these little babies. It'd be lovely to honour them for the life they've given us. This here is another piece that I had sitting. That was actually sitting on my kitchen counter, and I thought, well, whether we use it or, you know, what we could do is even sketch that and stitch it in as inspiration. And then, I couldn't help myself. I've had this little guy for years, since I was a little girl. I think we went to like a, I don't know, one of those tourist places up the Queensland coast somewhere, probably Magnetic Island. And I've had him sitting on a bench in my house for yonks. And he went to Burrum when we had the first house up there with the family, just like a holiday house. And then he went into the boxes to be packed in storage. And now that the Burrum house is redone, he's out. So I put him in. Inspiration. Could we do a turtle? Who knows? I don't know where this piece is going to end up. I then glanced at my threads that were sitting on the table there, and I'm sure I've got these in Brisbane in amongst my travelling pack, but I just popped them in. I saw that on the desk. So I've got a few bits and bobs. Now, where did I get to with this? Because I redid it and I didn't film that. I made it longer. This piece that I put in here, I turned it over and stitched it down with a little hem stitch, nice and invisible. I did that because I like how I get now this rounded edge here. I had it furry and fray and it looked beautiful and textured and just gorgeous, but I sort of wanted that defined line on the horizon, and I was able to get this gentle slope as if the wave, there's no waves out there, it's just, there's movement. And then when I stitched it down with those little stitches, that in itself made it a little bit curved. So I was like how that just became stationary. Not stationary, stitched down to look like there's movement. Then I started the layers. So as you come into the foreground, the ocean's starting to chop up a little bit. So I put that piece of sari silk through there that was in Susanna's pack. I think that's Susanna's fabric. That dyed lace in there is from Sarah's pack. Then we come down into where it's really churning around, the foam. And I've got the cheesecloth from the online site, Petals. Oh my goodness, the link will be below. I just heard Susanna say it. Hannah's Petals by Hannah, something like that. The link's below and you'll know what you're looking for. Now the rest of that fabric from Hannah was actually here in Brisbane. Let me grab that container out because it's coloured cheesecloth. That's a bit of it there. And there's greys, and then she had some other colours like a mint green. And I knew this was all in Brisbane, so I thought, well, I'll get the blue down. The other thing I've also got is some chiffon that drifts between colours. This stuff, gosh, it just explodes when I open that drawer. And it's ombre, so we get really light through to really dark, and it's just so gorgeous. So I knew that was in Brisbane still, so I wanted to get my hands on a bit of that. Now that is from Susanna, that's from Susanna, that's from Susanna, in the pack that came with the calendar prints. If you got one of those packs, I think there's one left. Lucky you if you didn't, because postage is just crazy out there and you've pulled your own bits and pieces together. This is going to be a mishmash of all of it anyway, so please don't feel like you're being left out in any way. I think you all know that by now with Slow Stitch, that we're all starting to build little stashes of yumminess. Now I'm just going to eliminate a few things from my pile because I really want to upend this and rummage. There's a cotton, some threads that were from Susanna's, and I just want to pull all that out. Oh, look at it. Look at that. Oh, I'm surrounded by yumminess. Look at that. All right, where are we at with this? What I need to do, I haven't stitched the foamy water down. At the moment, I'm happy with the waves. I sort of want it to be quite simple up here and then just get full on down here because we've got all of this shells and there's all sorts of things that we can do down here. But before we leave that zone, Susanna in her video had made white caps out of a crocheted edge that looked like there were little white caps coming in from the distance. So I was sort of thinking along those lines too, because I thought they looked super cool. Now, that there would work. That would work. I didn't think there was anything in here that was extra cool. That's why I didn't film this too until I really got back, and then I got stuck into filming a heap of other things and I was like, finally, I'm back to the ocean scene. I think I could use that and just drizzle a few in. I'm going to snip it off there. I think this came to me from Anita, am I right? It's one of the girls I did the Little Big Stitchery swap with. Oh, I hope I've got the right girl. You've all sent me goodies, and those goodies have just merged into all the other goodies. So I do apologise if I've got that wrong. I'd have to go back and check my video. Give me a nudge if it was you and not Anita. Just say, good one, Corrine. I toiled over the making of that and you've already forgotten. So give me a nudge. I do apologise. But that is just a gorgeous little piece. And I'm thinking, I can see a wave there. I don't know if we'll put it back further. I think I do want to keep that. Oh, Susanna twisted it. She pinned it in. So the only thing left to stitch now is this, we'll call it the foam. I really want to play with the foam a little. is she just tilted it. So it literally looks like a white cap is coming through there. Isn't that just gorgeous? Clever, clever girl. So I'm pleased I didn't get into the filming as quick as I thought I might, because it actually gave me a moment just to stop and think about it a little bit. That's the benefit of having quite a few projects going. If you're new to all this and you think, oh my goodness, I've got 3 things going, I can't possibly start another. You can, because you pick things up and you'll do a bit, then you'll move on to something else. What's Pepper doing? Gosh, I saw a snake the other day. It was a green tree snake. I'll tell you about it in a minute. And I've just spotted her to the side. I've got so paranoid. It's just that time. She's sniffing. Hold that thought, guys. I won't turn the camera off. Pepper, come here, baby girl. Distract her attention. Yeah, I think I mentioned in a previous video, our stores are now closed and we're doing inventory. Well, the Virginia store is in the middle of counting everything and entering it into the system. And the store's closed to customers, so it's just our teams. And I got a message this morning, there was a brown snake in the lighting room. Now, the back of that shop has big roller door that just goes to a paddock because it just hasn't been developed down that side of our building. The owner is a different company and they're getting ready to build a service station. And so there's sort of piles of dirt and just hasn't been finished, I guess. Anyway, the odd time over the years, we've had critters come in. So it's usually lizards, big lizards. It's a bit of lizard country back there. Just going to twist that a little bit. So it looks like it's rolling over. See the white points? Oh, gosh, I love that. Yeah, so I've just finished chatting to the manager. We've got a snake catcher coming and he's going to catch the snake. So I'll have to let you know how that goes. But the staff, they've seen him and they're like, no, he's something. And I'm like, doesn't matter if he's something or not. Let's just get the something out of there. Because the store will close for about a month while they all have their annual leave. And then we're reopening for the next season, which I'm sure I've told you all that before. But anyway. So they're like, there's a snake, there's a snake. And then yesterday, I went down the back to have my little walk and play with Pepper and Bandit. We come down this gravel ramp we've created. We're on a bit of acreage here in Brisbane, and there's a retainer wall that holds the bank back that has the house on and the sheds and driveway and, you know, where we live. But then we put 2 ramps in and a couple sets of stairs to access the lower section of our block, as it sort of runs back towards the rear where there's some farms right at the very back. Pepper's still sniffing around. Pepper! I just got to tap the glass. Come on. Could even be a toad. Come on. She's really interested in something. Could be a mouse, who knows, but Mum's thinking snakes. So we're walking down that man-made ramp that we put in, so that if we ever wanted to drive a car down around the back of the block, we can drive down this ramp, round through the old garden beds and out the other side. So you could turn a caravan or a boat. And we thought for resale in the future, that probably would be pretty handy to maybe someone who has a truck or something like that. Anyway, I'm coming down that ramp. Directly in front of me is a bit of grass and then a huge garden bed. A garden bed that the original farmer's wife had around their house. The house used to be where our pool pump is now, behind that retainer wall on the lower area. Does that even make sense? No, it doesn't. Got to draw you a map. Here we go. We're going sidetracked. All right. So we've got a rectangular shaped block with a retainer wall about here. This level is the house and a pool, and the pump sits here on the low side. Can't even see what I'm drawing. Gosh, now we're sidetracked. Right, so rectangular shaped block, a retainer wall, it's probably about 900 high. The pool pump is here, the pool sits here, and the house is there, and then that's the street. So we've put in a couple sets of stairs and a ramp that you could drive down either side, said ramp. And then the original farmhouse was actually here. And they had a big garden bed here and a big one here and one across the back. And I believe the farmer used to drive in from the main road. House was here and he'd do a circle around those beds and then leave. Well, that block got bought and chopped up into 1 acre allotments. But we all access from this edge here. They would have driven in through their entire farm that went this way. Anyway, beside the point. So I'm coming down this ramp with the 2 dogs. They're on their way around that garden bed, skipping and hopping and having a great time. I look straight ahead, and here on the edge of that garden bed is a easy 2.5 metre, 3 metre snake. And luckily at a glance, I could see he was dark green with a yellow belly, so tree snake. And we do have one that lives around us in the garden, and I see him, you know, every couple of months, and he's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And this thing was bloomin' huge. Well, he spots the dogs coming past. He then sees me coming straight at him, and I'm on the turn to come around here after the dogs. But he's directly in front of me, probably about 3 metres away. Well, he takes off like a rocket, and he heads straight for the boundary fence. Thank goodness he went this way and didn't come into the centre of a block. So within seconds, he was under the fence and gone. Took me 20 minutes to recover. The bloomin' heart was racing, and it was a bit close. So then out of the blue, a couple of days later, the store rings. Guess what? We've got a bloomin' snake in the shop. Once again, not a sealed building. Oh, I tell you, I'm looking for something sandy. I'm a little whale. Got to keep him safe. I need something in here. And it could be a bit dark, to be honest. I don't think I want to put that in there. Where's my neutral scraps? Okay, guys. I just need to get to my scrap bucket. Here we go. And find something sandy in here. Let me zoom back up because I've taken you in to look at a random map of where a snake is. Maybe this, not dark enough. I sort of feel like I need a dirty, this might do it. It's purely in the background. It's a shame to use beautiful fabric. But I think I need something in there before I get carried away with scissors. What are those big pink ones? So yeah, that was my adventure. So the snake catcher is on its way to the shop to catch said snake. Oh, because they're doing inventory. They've come along that section of the store, counting boxes, and bam, suddenly they spot out of the corner of their eye something moving. It's not good. Happens, but still. Oh. I think I told you I had a red belly black snake in the front yard a couple months ago. They're definitely out and about. The weather is just prime snake weather. So that there is purely to get a bit of, you can't even see, a bit of background fabric in there while I have a chance before things start layering up and it all just disappears. Might even do that. See, you could barely see it. I thought that might happen, but I want to put the fence posts coming up here. So we need like a bit of a what am I trying to say? Use my big words, girl. Do we go into the fence post situation now? How dark and moody do we want our fence posts? How tall do we want our fence posts? How wide do we want our fence posts? I don't know. Where's my picture of reference that we got this bright idea from? There it is. So we've got a thick fence post and some little fence posts. So that's a good start. Thick. We need a bit of a curved top on it. We're going to have one that's hanging out here. Maybe a fraction. I don't know how tall to make him yet, so we'll be safe. We want him poking up into the water a little, as in he's out in the water. That edge there needs to be more sloped, which I suspected, but that's okay. That can happen once we start. Does it need to? Maybe it doesn't. Maybe I'll move the fence posts over. Get a bit of an angle on it. Maybe I'll lower it. Okay. And then smaller fence posts. I don't know. We'll just give it a go. And I guess we've got to decide then too where he finishes. Do we be brave and just cut it? And that one. We'll follow the lead of the picture. Let's not reinvent the wheel. Bit wonky, but I think that'll work. We might layer that one there. He's into the ground, very close to him. I might end up putting a little bit of an angle. You know what it's like when you go to the beach, and because they're all sitting in sand and also getting absolutely beaten by the weather, they tend to be a bit haphazard. Very rare you see a straight fence post at the beach. I'm going to cut that. I'm going to be brave, maybe a little bit longer than those, so it looks like there's a bit of a slope of soil. Cut it off the wrong end. That's okay. Fence post is getting more and more dilapidated as we go. Got a bit of sand that's built up a bump behind it, which I'm happy with, and we might do the same in front of it as well. Oh, it's fun when you can freeform these types of designs. I can hear my iron going. I've just filmed a video and I left the room, uploaded it, come back and my iron's still on. Well, possibly it could have gone wrong there. Here I'm worried about snakes outside, and I should be more worried about lack of attention inside. Hang on to all those bits because it just clutters your room and adds texture. And you might one day use those bits in something, maybe. Or you look at them and go, why have I got all those bits? Now let's cut to the opposite side because we don't need that length, because I think we've only got one fence post in this. So I need to have a think about some wire. Probably find some fine leather. That'd look rather neat. Poor old fence. It's a bit beaten by the weather, isn't it? Okay. Fence is in position. Now we need to start layering across the front some more bits and bobs. I really like this stuff. Oh, who gave it to this? Is this Susanna or was this Sarah? Can't remember what pack I took it out of. I'll just distort it a little bit so it gets a bit of a furry look. Squish it around there a bit. Put a pin in it so it looks like it's in the sand. These guys need to look like they're just poking out of the sand as well. Once I get all my major features in, I then will be able to look at all of this beads and grasses and flowers, and I may need to even put another piece of fabric. Let me move this up again so you can see another piece of fabric here. If I find that I've run out of space, which I'm suspecting I might. Now, did we want to add anything else to the ocean in the way of fabrics? I've got this green. Is it a water thing? Yeah, it is. Just a bit. It's nice and furry. And just start laying it in there. Because remember, the foam is of interest to me, not the background. So to have some colour movement, change of direction of waves and sort of coming through there can only add to the interest. That colour cheesecloth was Surf Mist because I found the sticker in under there. You may have been watching that video and going, Corrine, the sticker is in there under it all. Well, yes it was. But I managed to get it out because I had only pinned. This one here is called Dusty Blue. So that sticker was in the waves. So, yeah. This Dusty Blue has a nice little tone about it. So I think we could probably add a little bit of, it's probably a bit too straggy. So I've got that embroidered piece of trim there too. It was like a little white edge with the little loops on it. That's been worked into it. Let's get a bit in over there. Come behind that wave a little. It's all going to just add that as if we've been shading. And the water can be a bit blue back there. So it's still got a bit of depth to it. Might do the same here. So we'll see how we go for time. We're 30 odd minutes in, that's all right. It's okay. That can roll in the back there. So trying to make the feel that there's some waves that are up, some waves that are curling. and some ways are really coming down hard and fast. So I'm putting a bit of that dark blue in deep. Sort of will freshen it up a little bit. Some of these bits, just a little bit in there to create that shadow. There we go. See, it looks artistic, doesn't it? Does that look like water? Looks like water to me. Can we get to stitching on the beads and shells yet? Okay, what else have we missed? We could probably do a little bit more down the slope, this here. So that means going towards laces. What have we got here? Probably finished with the cheesecloth. Let's get that out of the picture. Reduce our pile of, oh, I haven't used my ombre. Oh yeah, look. We could use a bit of this right at the very end where it's starting to bubble onto the... It's starting to really, you know, where the sun sparkles. Oh, I'm getting artistic now. I'm talking rot. Where the sun sparkles as the water gets really glistening, as it... The wet look, oh, the wet look on the sand is what I'm trying to achieve here. I have got, just talking rubbish. There we go. We now have wet sand. That's funny. Literally came into my pea brain. But it works. It looks good. Bar that there needs to be tucked under. That's rolling down, breaking a wave. Pin that. That is stitched. Good one. But that's okay. We will push it back to there. Trim that off if needed. Tuck it in. Can always release those few stitches so that that appears like it is behind the mound of sand. Like that. That's better. Going to run out of pins. So we've enhanced our foam. It's now drizzling onto the sand. Gee, a massive piece of ombre. And I barely used it. Where else can we put a bit? Can we put a bit? No, just stop. What will happen is I would need this background to be as thin as possible. Otherwise it won't look like it's going back. And if I start bulking that up too much with bits, it'll throw it all out of whack. Nope, leave it. Let's have a little look in Sarah's little goodies. Yo-yo, don't know what'll happen with him yet, but it's all good. What are these? Gosh, it's been so long. Oh, well, we'd have to use that, wouldn't we? Is that a vine going up on a fence post? Is it a vine growing over here? No, see, it's got lost. I'm wondering if it's something to do with a fence post. It's got a great shape as if it could. Oh yeah, here, hello. Wrap that around there. This is one of those creepers. And it goes in behind there. That's got potential. That would add a little bit of interest to our fence. We've got a bit of a vine happening. I like it. Could use it. Just stick a pin in it. We'll percolate on it. I think it'll happen, but Makes my fence post look more interesting, doesn't it? That's moving. That needs a pin in it. I'm running out of pins, guys. That's all good. When I finish this video, I will stitch this zone through here down. So what have we got here? We got a little blue flower. So he'd have to be way back in the distance, wouldn't he? I do like him. Just adds a little interest, but am I don't know. I don't know. And the white guy, I remember when she went through the dyeing of all that. Gosh, the memories. This guy, I sort of feel like he could be worked into the foliage of the front. You know, I'd have to find more mates for him, but he could be something on the beach. So I'm pretty happy with that. Now, this. We need more layers in here. This is the other part of that. So I wonder if I start getting a curve there. So by having it appear over here as well, sort of ties it into there. But can we do better? There's more cheesecloth that can go away. What else is in here? There must be more lacy bits. But they're blue. Here we go. What's this? That's the big guy. Oh, I can't be using that. How do you work a square into an ocean scene? It's not going to happen. Not today. What else have we got? We've got a linen. It's got potential. It's probably a bit random. Leave it for a minute. Where's this pack of lace that I think Anita gave me? I might be wrong and I'm going to be embarrassed because I got it wrong. That there to me is a definite. Why? Because it's curvy, it's got a flower. We're starting to build up the foliage that we might see at the beach. Just going to put it there. It's a layer. Going to get real lacy. This is a mound of this here too would work. Could tuck it in behind. Sort of puts a pop of colour there. I like that. Probably could cut a bit of that bulk out of there. Was going in the front, but last second changed my mind. So they're like plants popping up, and see even that little bit there. Let's just snip him out because I like its shape. I'm building up these little plants here. See, just like that. What else can we salvage? That was a scrap that came off, oh my goodness, came off the end of that. And it's been joined together, stitched together. Could the girl be interested in unpicking that. I think I established that she could. Oh, we've only got 15 minutes to go. For goodness sakes. Oh, they've stitched it 20 billion times. The girl's lost interest. But I think that flower continues behind there. Righto, homework. I'm going to unpick that. I'm going to pin it up there. Pin it over there. I'm going to unpick it. Ow. Those didn't find a home. No, I've got to get it in. I might just pop it up there. Just... yeah, just do it. It's not logical. I've got a bit of Sarah's dyed lace coming here and a little pop over there of that flower. It could be, I don't know, something floating out in the ocean. I can justify it. What else have we got here? We've got some rickrack braid, which I never really, don't know. Just don't know. See, I've got that as well. Didn't end up, no. No, no. Too fine. No. No. See, I wanted to use all that. No, we're not. Okay. Have I exhausted all of my neutral? So I got this yellow. That's getting us into that sandy tone. That has potential as well. But how yellow do we want to go? To me, it's too yellow. I'm just doing one more sweep past. Oh, look at that bit. Save it. Then I have some dyed bits for another day. There's me bits. Nearly lost me bits. Put that in there. Pale, pale. I think we've got enough movement. Just doing one more sweep past the scraps, guys. That's a nice piece. Don't need it, but what's that in there? That's sari silk. Once it starts breaking down, you just get threads everywhere, don't you? No, no. Do we need a little bit of plain fabric? Maybe. Unpick that bit, that bit. We've got some white bits that look like shells. Well, that has potential. Back it up. It's so white. It's like the only, no. All right, and back to this little morsel. I think there's more in this. I think this has a lot more potential. I really could do with a bit of a sandy tone coming through here too. Like something, I might need to go looking. If that curves down a little bit, I think I'd be happier. I feel like we've got a bit of a line, a gap here, but that's okay because we could, no, we could have something stitched into there at a later date, like some foliage or a massive penguin. See, even that's interesting. Nope, nope. And there's nothing sandy in my scrap bucket, is there? One more look. So I've got this. Now that could do it. That'd get us out of the water and into the sunlight. Let's have a little look. Let's pick all that up. And get us into there, under there. We can always soften that edge a little more. Yeah, this might work, guys. This might be just the golden ticket to get us across the beach. And if I can get that to disappear into there, and then this just tucked enough under there to start the process of thinking it is dry sand. Get a bit of a slope happening. I'm running out of pins. Nope, there we go. How are we going for time? Plenty of time. Start this slope down. And even if we crimple it a bit with some stitches, get a bit of movement in there. Pleating and swooshing around. See how it's sort of looking a bit more movement instead of flat. Bring all that up and over it. Soften it a little. I think this side is going to be the display of the shells and things like that. That has to be curved to meet, otherwise it won't look right. That plant can come down into that zone. That's good. A lot of those little gaps will get covered by the next phase, I believe. I think this little guy, once I unpick him, he will come into there. That'll help blend. It could even come into here a little bit. Oh yeah, I'm going to pin it there for now. Ow, that'll help blend this sand. And if I furry up that edge, yeah, that's better. Does it look like we've got a... Now I might try and pleat that back up to here. This has actually worked out to be quite a good colour. I don't know what it's come off of. Let's trim it. It's given me an extension too. Could even do a bit of camphor stitching through there just to get lines, you know, when the wind blows over sand, you get those little ribby lines. Might just try and crimple it a little bit. Nearly caught a pin then. Pin it, pin it, pin it. So it suddenly gets a bit of movement about it if you can crimple it and stitch in there. So I'll go off now and just start stitching. It's all about getting it secure. Let me get my scrappy bits out of our way. And even these fence posts, I might even come back through, I don't know, with little bits of this stuff. Which way does it fray? That way. So you can do things like stitching in interesting little morsels off of them. I don't know if I like that, but you know what I mean. You can start layering up other wools and things even on those. Maybe stitches will work better. Maybe, I think that's got too much white in it. Mind you, it might look all right for the top of the fence post. Yeah. Anyway, we'll come back to that. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. All right, so there's my inspiration. We can get some plants in here. We've got now some sand to play on. I think we are doing okay. I may even bring this piece in here just to have a different colour, but we'll see. We shall see. All right, guys, I might leave it at that. Maybe I'll just do more of this, come through under here, another piece of this. I like the colour of it. It's given us a real... It's too sandy not to be good sand, isn't it? Let's just pin it to that piece. Gosh, I'm adding extensions now. Where is this heading? Okay, that's a good start. All right, guys, I might even take it all the way. What the hang? Gosh, it's just now increased by 6 inches. Goodness sake, stop. All right, guys. Oh, does it look like an ocean? It looks like a mess to me. Let's get some stitches in there. Take a breath, get it stitched down, and then start again. But yeah, I think we've got a hill here. We've got something happening here. This will be a display of all the shells and things, I think. So it's nearly heading into its own story from the ocean. This is right in the foreground. All the kids have collected everything on the beach, and they've just, you know how everyone usually pops things in one location? You often see that a little bit, like a bit of an art installation happens. That'll be there. All right, guys. So I could then put some lace down in amongst this, coming down through here. Right, stop. All right, I'm going to say goodbye. Thanks, guys, for joining me and watching that unfold. You just never know where you're going to go. We're off to the beach at the moment. All right, guys, look after yourselves. Have a lovely day. Bye.